Oh, howdy everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a look at a brand new Broadway limited release in Paragon 4. It's the BLW Sharknose, both in Pennsylvania Railroad Scheme and Baltimore and Ohio. The Baltimore and Ohio is as delivered scheme, and the Pennsylvania Railroad is the 5-stripe version, the DGLE. So let's take a look at this new Paragon 4 release of the Sharknose starting right now. I don't mean to offend any of you Pensy fans, but I've chosen the Baltimore and Ohio as the one we will unbox. Now, inside the box here, there's actually a date, I guess, of manufacturer stamped, and then a warning that says to avoid damage, place your Broadway limited locomotive on your layout before turning on the track power. There is a flyer in here talking about Broadway limited upcoming items, including their die-cast SD70 ACEs, their business cars, and the T1A Berkshires. And the business cars, within the last couple of videos, you would have seen my chat with Broadway Limited about the business cars. There's Union Pacific business cars, modern day Excursion, that I'm really excited about. Also, functions for both standard lighting mode and pro lighting mode. The pro lighting mode gives you more functionality over the model. We've gone over that in some videos. The manual here is 27 pages long with functions, DCC operation, maintenance, etc. Then the models themselves, take off the foam lid. We'll flip that around. In the top left corner are some spare couplers. If I recall correctly, this B unit has a drawbar on it. Yep, there it is. So there's some probably spare couplers in there to switch that out to couplers if you want. A unit has coupler on the front and the drawbar configuration on the rear. Let's take a closer look at the A and B unit. If you hear some rumbling in the background, that is not my stomach. We have a bit of a storm coming through, so you may hear some thunder in the background here at the layouts location. Lots of storms all night long. But back to the review. On the front, LED nose. You've got lights on each side of the nose, number boards. There are windshield wipers, horns in both direction, one on each side of the cab. I know this black kind of absorbs a lot of light and it's hard to tell. You've also got the pilot with a metal coupler protruding out with a magnetic glad hand on the coupler for people that still use the uncouple devices that you can place throughout your layout that'll have automatic uncoupling points, magnets. There is a crew figure inside, as you can see. Now, at first glance it looks like, oh, this little sill broke, but that's actually the slant pattern of the sill for the door entry for the Sharknose. That was actually the design of the real Sharknose, had this slant sill above the cab door entry on these locomotives. You can see the silver kind of appearance pattern for the steps there. There is a stanchion below, Baltimore and Ohio on the side. There's some more print here that I'm sure if you blow up big enough you can see. My eyes can't see any longer that far. I'm already about 1.5 feet away from the model, just zoomed in here. On the back, another entry point for maintenance crews and a stirrup there, just like on the front. Diaphragm on the rear, another rear light. You've got the actual hookup here for the drawbar instead of the coupler, but like I said, the couplers are included to replace that with if you want. This position here gives you a pretty good look at the roof detail with all that black kind of absorbing all my light. You can see radiator fan grills and a lot of other details, including the horns that we covered up top, little hatch there, and some rivet and latch detail. On this side we'll talk about some stuff we didn't cover, including the grills. And you can also see the trucks. Sprung trucks, a little hard to see with all that black, but there are sanding lines molded on those trucks, so a pretty good level of detail added to that area of the locomotive. Then we're back in the front, and if you never knew why they call it a shark nose, it's got the overbite. So there is the overbite where it's more protruded out here and it tapers back in there, and that's why they call it the shark nose. And 857, as you see here for the road number, you've got those number boards on the side. That is the 360 of the A unit. Let's take a look at the B unit. Alright, here's the B unit. More of the same detail in terms of roof accoutrements, grills, etc. The main thing about this B unit is the female connection for the drawbars here. You've got crossover platforms. Lifting lugs are also present on these diaphragms on each side. It's for maintenance for the cranes to lift these in real life. Also, the B unit is unpowered, and completely a dummy, so no sound emits from it. It's not a real dig on its intelligence, it's just there are no electronics inside. So the A unit's going to be pulling it, and the B unit is just going to be a glorified piece of rolling stock in this A-B consist. So there is a quick look at the B unit. One thing I didn't show you is the underside, so maybe you can get a better look at the trucks that way, but that's the underside of the car. And as we turn this way, you can get the look at the top of the car as well. Alright, here's the Pennsylvania Railroad variation, and as you can tell, these are going to be road specific details. Pennsylvania love their antennas, and this thing is tricked out with two long antennas going the entire body of the A unit. As you can see there, you still see the distinguished slant there on the sill for the cab door entry. Pennsylvania Railroad Keystone logo, 5 stripes, 9708 along the side there. And we're just going to have the B unit in the same shot for a little bit of quickness here. People say I spend too much time on the 360, so maybe we'll take that as constructive criticism and move on to weight. But there is the Pennsylvania Railroad version in all of its glory. Alright, we're going to turn this on here. And once again, you might have to trust me, because this is not very visible, but 530 grams on this. 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. That's 18.7 ounces total on the weight of just the A unit. When you add the B unit, which is going to be weight that's pulled, but still 778 grams. 1 pound, 11.4 ounces, or a total of 27.4 ounces. So again, 778 grams. So that's the weight for these two locomotives. Alright, we're up close looking at coupler height. So you can see for yourself here. On the front, coupler height appears to be spot on. I'll switch to the back. These don't drag too terribly when you're moving them around the layout without power, so that's kind of nice actually. Back looks to be spot on as well, so I think we have good coupler height at NMRA standards out of the box. And the wheel sets are NMRA standards, which is typical on almost everything I review, so we'll call this NMRA compliant. There's a couple ways to fire up a Broadway limited locomotive, and if you just want to move it, you go to address 3, which is the standard address, and you just move it. So it'll power up, but there's also an extended startup, and I'll show you that. So for extended startup, it is F9. We'll hit that. So now we're powered up here. See the headlight on, those classification lights are red, and the number boards are lit. We'll go through some sounds with F1. Being bell, obviously. F2. That's horn. F3's coupler sounds. You can move it to get those sounds to go, as you heard there. And because I didn't have the headlight on, those functions are all out. Now in Pro Lighting mode, you'll be able to control those functions separately, but with just regular standard mode, we're talking about one F0 button turns on the class lights, the headlights, the number boards. F4's compressor and air brake. F5 is increase the prime mover RPMs basically. And F6 is decrease them. F7 will control your class lights separately, as you see there, even on standard mode. F8's the master volume mute. F9 we've covered with startup. F10's radiator cooling fan. F11's air lines, 12's brakes. A lot of people ask for 22, which is alternate horn. So that's F22. And there's the regular horn that was standard, so you know. And then there's radio chatter, lumber mill sounds, and you can record and play back macro, which is a function where you can record sequences and play them back with F26 and F27. So that's a quick rundown of most of the sounds. We'll go ahead and get this moving and see how it does under speed control testing. Alright, we're moving this here. One speed step going through the AccuTrack 2 speedometer. And we've got 2.5. So it's 2.5 scale miles an hour for one speed step on my NCE Pro Cab here. We're now in reverse. There's not going to be a reverse light on that B unit because it's unpowered, but there is a reverse light on the A unit and classification lights as well. I just wanted you to see both the reverse light, the classification lights in reverse, and they're also illuminated on the front, but the slow speed control going in reverse as well, because sometimes it's different between front and reverse. So with the drawbar, you've got a really close couple between the A unit and the B unit. That is about as close as you're going to get to where you can still navigate curves. So really nice, realistic distance between those units with the drawbar. We're going to do a pull test with just the A unit, and then both the A unit and the B unit, because they are sold as A unit only in some cases, so you want to know that, possibly. And it looks like about 2.73 or 4. Ready for the A and B unit here. Pretty similar pulling power, 2.1. That's about 30 freight cars, 2.0, 2.1 on this A and B consist. Just a little less. You lose about maybe a 10th or 15th of an ounce from adding the B unit. Alright, I'm going to test capacitance. So definitely capacitance in there. A couple seconds at least of interrupted track power, and you've got the ability to continue on over the dirty track. And I just put it back on the track with power on, which they tell me not to do, but hey, I don't listen to rules a lot of the time. So anyway, that is the capacitance part. Well, that's going to wrap up our look at the Broadway Limited Sharknose Locomotives, the A and B units, Paragon 4, DCC, and sound. You've got the added capacitance, I think, in some of the Paragon 4. I'm not sure about this one, but you do have Paragon 4 Rolling Thunder as an option as well, which is a separate subwoofer that adds a trackside bass. You may have heard that in this video a little bit. There's also the B unit is unpowered, A unit's powered, class lights you can control on regular standard mode, and you can break down lots of light control on the Pro mode. Smooth rolling, little quick speed step 1 action at 2.5 speed steps. NMRA compliance was good everywhere. The only negatives or concerns I could even think about is it's a little hard to rail it with the drawbar because the A unit's weighing down. It's hard to rail the B unit sometimes, very minor issue, but you can, just a little more difficult to get it on the rails. And then the pulling power, if you're wanting to pull more than, I'd say, 30 freight cars, you're probably going to want to double these up or add more motive power. With that said, right now, right here, we'll leave you with a run by, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.
Many of the products you see in this video are available at trainworld.com. Since 1968, this family-owned business has been serving the needs of the modeling community with 2 New York brick-and-mortar store locations in Brooklyn and Long Island, plus their vast array of online items. Shop 24/7 at trainworld.com.